The Redeemer has risen.
Alright guys, game number 5, and this is probably going to be part 2 of my series. Definitely will be, because that game was terrifically long, and yeah, I just simply can't post 2 vids. Sorry, I can't post the whole series as that length. So yeah, guys, I want to retain my 4K quality, because in the future I just feel that it's going to be nice to look back on these games and series when they're 4K, when 4K becomes the norm. I mean, it has been around for a while, but on YouTube it's a relatively new thing. Although there is 8K now on YouTube, but yeah, I'm not going to go that far. Obviously, I don't have the monitor or equipment. Nor that is necessary, because you need an internet that's fucking insanely fast to view that. But yeah, we're going to be on Tiberium Rift here, and we're going to scroll up to the top left, and we can see on the top left it's going to be Drive playing as Nod. And I'm just going to open the status of the player now, because it's not really spoiling anything, because I'm seeing some games submitted by shoktrepet, some games submitted by Drive, so yeah, man, whatever. Anyway, Drive, he's going to be up here playing as the green Nod, and over here we have shoktrepet retaining a screen faction of some sort. I do suspect that, well no, I don't suspect that, because we just seen then that he picked random, so he has seen nothing but scrins in this series. Now I'm not sure what his best faction is. shoktrepet rarely plays Kane's Wrath. He's someone who migrated from Tiberium Wars to Kane's Wrath. He's actually a really good player. I think he's got an expert badge in game replays for Tiberium Wars. So definitely one of the better players in Drive as well. He can take games off of anyone. I mean, we even saw versus Bike Rush that he can take games certainly off of Bike Rush as well. Bike Rush not really at his peak, though. No one really is now, because I don't think anybody gets the chance to play enough practice games to, you know, achieve their best. I have been doing a lot of weird things lately, so I don't think it's strictly about your mechanical skill, like micro, you know, spamming ER, and Q. I don't mean it like that, but speed. It's more about strategy. And I don't think the meta is settled. I mean, I know that you could probably argue that yes, it is settled, Leaf. This patch has been around for 10 years. But I'd argue that the all-ins aren't very good now. No one's doing all-ins in tournaments. No one's picking Black Hand in tournaments. And if they are, they're probably losing, because, well, I picked Scrin and Black Hand just lost. You can pick GDI. GDI is equally as good versus Black Hand. I can name many reasons why that is. But yeah, it looks like, going back to this game, shoktrepet is taking a Leaf out of... Sorry, this is... who? I'm getting confused again. Okay, shoktrepet this time is going to be red. Drive's doing his fake Black Hand squad strategy. Of course, this will fall shoktrepet, because last game we did see him make the flame tank. So, but yeah, again, as I mentioned last game, which would have been in my last video, that it's not worth to admit going for Seekers, even if you suspect it's a fake, because if it's not a fake, again, it's GG instantly. And this spike will get taken out here. He's not going to have any difficulty with this. He's going to micro this down, and that's going to be no more spike for you, shoktrepet. shoktrepet, he's expecting the flame tank. He could probably split one Seeker off in the bottom, one in the top, but at this point he probably suspects that, yeah, I've just been tricked, and he's going to go for a tier 2. And this is typically what happens when you expect the flame tank but it never comes. And this is going to put Drive so far ahead. I was going to say that, but then look, he put his second ref on his expansion. This is what Bonuser used to do in the past. Now, it doesn't make sense to me, because you can't saturate your first field if you put your second ref down here. So again, I think that's a mistake. I really do. He's got a double ref there on this field. Wow, he's really blooming out on this in this game. If he does accumulate a lot of funds, he could go for a crane, and that's, I feel, a good move to make, because you can go for a crane and build with your MC build while you expand with your MCV. I think that's the best use case for a crane, and I've been using them extensively lately, and I feel that there is potential with cranes No one's really explored them. You can even fence cranes, so like they're not, I mean they are quite fragile, but you can fence them as not in GDI, so they can be quite venerable, I guess, if they come under siege, assuming you have a tier 2. And these Seekers will get destroyed here. They're simply going to be outgunned. There's no reinforcements. Up in the top, we have a power plant sold here. Going to be potentially to anti-scout that because he doesn't want to see... doesn't want to allow shoktrepet to know what's going on. But there is a lot of bike buggy on the field. Shoktrepet's going for mechapeds. So he's going for the classic mecha spam. Black Hand Squad's still alive. It's not ranked up. Of course, they don't get experience for killing neutral structures anymore. Mechapeds will be destroyed. So yeah, that's the worst thing that shoktrepet could have hoped for. Man, he needs to hold on here. He's going to be behind 4-1 if he loses this game. And of course, it's a best of 8. So if that were to occur, then the best he could hope for would be a draw. And this Black Hand's going to be annoying. There is a refinery up in the field here. 3 mechapeds out. Triple War Factory. This mechapede micro is going to have to be godlike. I just don't feel that he can do it, man. Mechapeds. I don't think it's as good as going for 1 base shard launcher Seekers. I feel that that's a better tactic to do when you know your opponent's going for like buggy spam. But yeah, I mean, mechapeds certainly have their use cases as long as you scout ahead. But yeah, the buggy's just going to tank the damage and bikes are going to be trading, I know, not very effectively, but you have to consider how much money these cost individually. Like it's $1,500 for the head. And then you have to develop them, so it's a further 800 credits onto that, so like 2,300 credits for 1 mechapede. That's more money than a rig. Each one of these guys represents more money than a rig. And I think you can tell on my videos that a rig is freaking way more effective than 1 mechapede. So if you analyze it in that way, it is. And this is just amazingly good for Drive. He's going to come in here. I'm not confusing these guys' names. Of course, they keep changing color. My scoreboard's going to be like a rainbow this series. And Seeker's just being deployed. He's probably working on the upgrades for his Seekers, probably realizing at the last moment, yeah, maybe I should have gone for shard Seekers. Maybe those were better. Nonetheless, Drive, he's completely working shoktrepet in this series thus far. And it remains to be seen whether the comeback can be made. Does he have an expansion on the way? Yes, he does. There is eco established here for shoktrepet. Let's not call this series just yet. It's not over. There isn't many bikes here. There's mostly only buggies. There is shard launchers on the field as well. Man, that is a huge deal. I think I'm calling this series way too early. If this is a war factory, then he can hold. Mind you, I don't think it is... I mean, it's quite intimidating going into a photon cannon defense. And maybe this is... Drive should just chill for a moment. He is not. He can transition rather effectively if he sees his opponent go for shard seekers, because laser scorps completely own those. So maybe that's what he should consider. But let's see what he decides to do here. He's going to go for the Tiv Core instead. He's going to come down here. He's going to find the defense. The tier 3 is here. Maybe not as useful now. The tier 3 he does have the upgrade. If he sells this, he gets the shock trooper. So maybe that's what you should do. I mean, he could stick around here and just let him shoot that while he aims down the bikes. I mean, maybe he'll get some nice trades, which is definitely what he needs to see happen. Putting down the portal as well for the simulator so he can repair that up. Buggy on the field for Drive. He's also got double ref on that field. I can see shoktrepet is pretty contained here, though he was last game as well, but made a miraculous comeback. So let's see if he can reciprocate it again. No, probably not the right word I was looking for there. He's got Seekers. And, I mean, if I would Drive, I'd make a switch to infantry here. Not infantry, really good as well. But no, he's just going to spam the tier 1. Again, he still feels that he's super far ahead, which he is. He is going for another upgrade, but presumably lasers. which the buggies also benefit from. So those would do even more damage as well. The Seekers, they're good versus buggy man, but against that swarm there, I don't think he has enough. He needs to put down another photon cannon here. He's rallying his Seekers over to the bottom, but he's just completely out of position. And he doesn't have Temporal Wormhole. It's only Trial 59 that get the upgrade. Of course, he sells it at the last minute to get the full health Shock Trooper. And he's getting some nice trades, admittedly. So the more the units that he kills like this, Shock Trooper, the more units he's going to have when he exhausts his whole Tiberium. Assuming the game gets to that length. He's going for the all-in bike spam. This, against Seekers, is this really enough, man? I do think it is. He needs a Stasis Shield, I reckon, here, Shock Trooper. There's just far too much buggy here. There's far too much. He's going to get completely overwhelmed. He's lulling him into this field here. And has he even got the M buggies? He may even have that as well. Goes in with the buggies first. He's going to completely surround these, and that's probably going to be it. The Seeker's trying to inflict a lot of damage onto this. It doesn't look like much of Drive's army is being destroyed. And yeah, that's just a complete massacre there, destroying all of those Seekers. The Refinery does come down on this field for Shock Trooper. He needs another army to replace it, but he doesn't have anything. He's putting down photon cannons frantically. He's turning back though Drive for some reason. I'm not sure why that is. He's gonna go instead for the bottom field. He sees the war factories here, so maybe that's a good idea, but man, those bikes, they just get popped so easily by these photon cannons. With the shard launcher upgrade, and the M buggies is online as well now, so yeah, despite buggy not being very good versus shards, since he was so far ahead, he was able to afford going for the less optimal build. I'm guessing he wanted to get this game over and done with. But yeah, Shock does have double ref on his field up here, so let's not say it's GG yet. Though he did just lose 2 harvesters. Seekers on the field here. He's relatively unprepared to deal with this, though. He's gonna get destroyed here. Yeah, his base is being destroyed. He's got nothing now to deal with this. MCV again was sold. No spike to take. What the fuck? I thought my game frozen, but it was actually something else. And I'm getting Skype notifications. Not sure if you guys can see that. I'm assuming you don't, because I've got this set to game capture, so I think it just should capture the game, even though I have overlays over it. But yeah, the guest, as you can see, Drive was so far ahead in that game, and that's going to be it. 4-1 for Drive so far, but it is a best of 8. So can Shock Trepet come back in this series? Can Shock Trepet do the reverse sweep? Can he take Drive all the way to 4-4? Well, stay tuned and find out. Alright guys, I'm back to do game number 4. It's 4-1, so this technically makes it game number 6. Anyways, it's going to be on Tournament Arena. I just went to put a jumper on because it is gone from hot to cold here. Anyways, up in the top left of the map, we have orange. That's going to be orange for the guest. It's going to be a screen faction, and in the bottom we can see Shock Trepet as GDI of some sort. I didn't catch a glimpse at the GDI faction on the player status screen. It's going to be Zocom. So Zocom versus some sort of screen. It's going to be Reaper again versus Zocom. Man, I've had some really good highlights on this map in the past. If you go through my archives, I've had games where I make Mass Zone Raider on this map, but work versus Scrin. And versus Reaper, it's even better. You know why? Because they don't have Devastator warships, and that is one of their only counters as Scrin to deal with Mass Zone Raider, as it turns out. Why, you ask? Well, Zone Raiders with scanner packs, they get that range buff, right? And that makes them able to outrange Buzzer Hives. And it also makes them shoot the Gunwalkers or Shardwalkers first, so they get that first shot off, which is crucial to note, because if you have enough Zone Raiders, you can just insta-kill the Shardwalkers before they get into range, and it's super hard to deal with. Mass Buzzer can be a problem, but if you are good with micro, you can force fire the ground with the Zone Raiders and inflict huge damage. Anyways, we got Eco coming out from either side here. I don't think that Shock Trepet would do what I mentioned just then, but you never know. You never know what he has planned. He's going to be down here though as Zocom. Harvesters happily mining away. they're not bugged now. If you play 102, if you play Red Zone Rampage 102, you'd notice that Steel Talons and Zocom do get crappy harvesters. And I'm not sure why people play Red Zone on 102. They pick random, and yeah, you get screwed pretty much. One thing I have to say though, people didn't pick random back in the day because these harvesters were glitched. So, you know, there was like a 2 in 9 chance you'd get utterly screwed. And if you were like Nod, there was a lot of bugs actually that made you gravitate more towards playing Black Hand and Traveler 59, because those were the, you know, the least bugged ones. Even though Traveler had some bugs, but they were, you know, beneficial bugs, so to speak. Anyways, 4 and 2 for the guest, and okay. Well, that really sucks to be shoktrepet there. He's going to lose a lot of mining time there. Drives already onto this field down here. And you have to remember, shoktrepet, he's down 4-1. He's probably very tilted. So his decision-making ability could be not up to par, but we're going to see what he's going to do in this game. He already isn't doing so well. In fact, he's even going to be forced back by one lone. Dude, you could have just crushed those. This harvester, I know it has no machine gun, but you can just kill that. You can just crush it. The harvester won't take critical damage by crushing a descent squad. This is a really ballsy move for Drive. I guess he feels, I'm 4-1 up. Let's take a huge gamble, not play an eco game, and go for that MCV move. Has shoktrepet scouted this? He's not scouted it. He is going for a... Guys, he just made a crane. A crane on Tournament Arena. Something that I would have expected myself. He may be forced to sell it quickly though when he sees this drone ship here, because he's like, oh crap, I really need to abandon going for structures. Maybe instead go for infantry. Infantry may be his option. He's got something queued though. This could be a barracks or a power plant, or he's going for a war factory. If he has a tier 2, he can fence that, and then, you know, the Devour tanks wouldn't be able to kill it. Dev tanks will be forced to stay near the tip crystals, so they get charged. They're immensely more powerful with that beam. Nice micro though from shoktrepet. He's amassing these predator tanks here. There is a number of dev tanks out in the field though, man. He can just one shot, or almost. He shouldn't have any problem taking that out. And oh man, is this? Am I getting this right? Yeah, shoktrepet's the red Zocom, so it's not looking too good for him. He's gonna have to make. I mean, he got the MCV. He killed the harvesters. He's killing the airfield. The predator tanks though will be a nuisance once they come out, but he's also going to get the war factory, and Drive has also not sold his MCV. He's got that stasis chamber once again. That was such a lethal push for Drive. He's going for Zorkas. That one shard walker though will prove to be a bit annoying. The dev tanks, oh god, that's just super annoying to deal with. I don't think he knows that he should focus fire the ground. But yeah, these dev tanks are no longer charged, so it would be wise to retreat now. The eco isn't too bad for shoktrepet. He does have 5 harvesters on that field, as you can see. Oh, sorry, 4. A lot of them aren't. What's he doing? Man, don't you just hate seeing that? Harvesters running to that field. It's definitely the worst thing that shoktrepet could hope for here. He may be forced to, you know, amend that situation rather quickly. Using the Icor Seed on the front line as well is usually used, you know, to it's used to really spawn tib at your field, but it also can be used as an offensive power as well, because you can use it with dev tanks or tripods if you're Reaper 17, which he is. If he takes up to tier 3, he can also go for a you know, that upgrade which I mentioned in in the early games for the conversion reserves, and then that would double the amount of tib that these can store, which would really benefit him here. That ref placement though, like you guys, you see my ref placements, but that there is something else. That's a full screen distance between his refinery and the expansion field. blue tib. Looks like it was harvested for drive. There is tib up on the top though for shoktrepet. Shoktrepet happily mining away here. He has plenty of freaking eco. There is a lot of death tanks in the field, fully charged up. This is going to be really hard to deal with. The gunwalkers will make short work of the infantry. He needs an armory if he's to go for infantry. Infantry without that composite armor, not going to be enough, I don't think. He does get immunity standing in Tiberium, which is probably going to be quite useful here. But yeah, there's orcas coming in for a strike. They're not upgraded with that ceramic armor, though. They don't need to be. They're going to force back the army. That was pretty crazy. Again, he has to watch for those again, because, you know, once one hit on this pocket of tanks and, you know, it's pretty much over, because he has enough tanks to really swell in and kill that. Rocket squad's getting some pot shots off. The orcas coming back in for a siege. The orca strike as well coming in, and he is going to try and aim these down. He's getting some splash damage dealt, but you can see behind this drive's getting double ref behind it. He wasn't anticipating the game to go on this long. That's why his recovery looked a bit hasty there, hastily recovered. He should probably sit back, take up to tier 3 and get that upgrade like I said. But yeah, I don't think that would be the top of his mind. He's holding on here, shoktrepet. He's also got the upgrade. He's got composite armor. Did he call in the blood airborne as well? It's a good support power because it does grant you 2 veteran missile squads. All the support powers the GI have to spawn in reinforcements come with a veteran rank. So potentially you can go heroic. As we've seen in my last FPV, like that APC, it got heroic only because it started off as veteran. There is perks to microing as GDI and doing those things. I like how support powers aren't just regular units, they are different units. They do have different stats on them, so don't just see it as 2 rocket squads or 2 pitballs or 2 whatever. They are better units. And here's me just rambling on here. I'm going to be incredibly curious to know if he's doing just what I said. Let me just see. No, the game's not going to let me. He's upgrading way too slowly though to be anything other than attenuated force, or the shields upgrade for his tripods, and this is going for shard AA because he sees the orcas on the field. He's going to move in though with his drone ship. He's going to move that back. Tier 3 probably online soon for shoktrepet. He's got these predator tanks. Unfortunately though, because he's Zircon, he doesn't have the railgun upgrade, and I have to say that was quite a sick comeback. I mean, you've seen how devastating that push was from drive. He didn't emp, he stasised his MCV, he got all those predator tanks, he flanked with descents, killed the harvesters, and then just endlessly sniped those pred tanks as well as the war factory. The execution was great for drive, but for somehow shoktrepet just didn't want to die, and he's still alive in this game. He is, however, almost going to be depleted out of Tiberium. One thing to note, however, is drive did gift him this tib, so if it does come to the super late game, then that could come back to haunt drive there. It isn't regrowing Tiberium like Overlord's Wrath tib is, because that tib does regrow over time. Engineer getting sniped here, I guess he wasn't expecting that to be garrisoned. He's going to deploy Buzzer Hive. Yeah, that's not going to arrange that, unfortunately. Infantry and Pred Army going to make their way up in the top. He needs to be wary of the Buzzer Swarm power. He doesn't have really enough anti-infantry here to deal with that, so Swarm can definitely cause some havoc. Surprisingly, he went for the blue shards, so yeah, I mean, versus infantry, does that make a difference? I think that regular shard walkers are fine as is. I'm not sure if these make a noticeable difference versus infantry. The shard launchers, I found them to be great versus vehicles though. Well, not great, but better than without it. It's like 33% more damage. It's not a massive damage buff. And again, he should get that conversion reserves. The tripods are on the field here. The Marv is on the field. For shoktrepet, he's got that garrison up with triple zone raider. I feel that he needs to go for zone raiders, man. But seeing all these shard walkers, maybe his instinct would be to not do that. I don't expect shoktrepet to know these things. These shard walkers are alone. There's no anti-infantry here. anti-vehicle. The tripods are coming in, but he's slightly out of position. Uses the stasis shield on his forces. The tripods need to go into range of this Marv, otherwise he's just going to tear him a new one, and that is going to be it. I mean, he's not approaching the Marv, that not really it matters because there's just way too much behind it. And there are other even Zorkas in the field, it doesn't really matter. These dev tanks getting completely and utterly annihilated. There you go, there's the conversion reserves upgrade. It actually changes the aesthetics of the dev tank, if you didn't know, so they also visually get a indication of that upgrade being complete. I like the small details like that in this game. Zone raiders on the field, so not sure if he actually, those came in from potentially the tier 4 support power, and that's going to be GG. So yeah, without having access to Devastator warships, fighting the late game against Zocom, pretty difficult, but I felt that Shoktrepet made an incredible comeback there, especially seeing how he looked so dire for him in the early game, losing what he lost and coming back, just insane. And he would have been 3-3. It would have been 3-3. It would have been tied this series if he had won that game on that space map. But yeah, it's still 4-2 for Drive. Can Shoktrepet win 2 more games? Is it even possible to come back from with such odds? But yeah, let's see. Alright guys, game number 7, and it is still make or break for Shoktrepet, so he needs to win 2 more games in a row. It's a shame it's a best of 8 and there's no ace match, but it is what it is. Anyways, up here in the top right, we can see Shoktrepet playing as Nod once again, and in the bottom, Shoktrepet. This cannot be by accident. No, sorry. Did I get this right? Yeah, Shoktrepet is Nod. And down here we have Drive playing as Skrin. So it looks like Drive getting Skrin the last 2 games. What faction he's going to be? He's going to be Reaper 17. Okay, so exactly the same faction. Only this time Shoktrepet is Nod. So, and we're on Smash Decision, which is an interesting map choice. We're seeing a lot of variation and variety on the maps. I do have to say I like that. Not sure if it's the referees who are picking the maps. I assume it could be, because they want to put on a nice show for us all. I will link the Russian cast if you're interested in seeing that as well, because there was a cast done by the Russians, but I thought I'd do a cast in English for you guys, because this series apparently turned out to be good, and who am I to argue? From what I've seen thus far, I can't really see any reason for it to not receive that approval and praise. So, did he forget his refinery? Now, it looks like he may have forgot his refinery, but what you guys need to understand is, if you put a structure on hold, it also looks like there's no structure queued. But I think he did this because he's made descents, man. And he knows that you probably can't get 3 refineries. 3 refineries? 2 refineries. Anyways, he's going to get himself 2 spikes on this map. There is 2 spikes here. Man, the detail of this map. We're so lucky to have these maps in Kane's Wrath, because imagine not having the maps. Imagine Tiberium was playing that game where you have like 5 maps and that's it. That's all the maps you ever see. I should pick this one more often as well. I didn't even notice there was a garrisonable structure here. Is that always been there? I guess it has been. I guess it does defend your spike though. Those buildings don't have much HP, as you can see. The synths just tear through it. We may, you know, come to think of it, considering how oppressive these descents are early on, maybe we should buff that building's health. I mean, that's an idea, right? If you want to make descents slightly less effective on maps where they're pretty good, like on Tiberium Rift, where it's just a no-risk thing to do. Yeah, speaking of though, oh man, that is super devastating, putting both of those structures together, and that could be GG already. Oh man, I was hoping to get a good game on this map. I don't think he's going to even have enough to deal with this flame tank. He's not even versus black hand flame tanks. He may just sell up here. Shoktrepet, I can see he's trying to recover in the top of the map. Did he even sell his MCV? He sold his MC. No, he didn't. He's got his MCV there. Does he even have enough to build a refinery? He may have. He's got these descents still alive. So he may feel that he still has a shot at it because he does have 2 spikes and he killed his opponent's spike. But yeah, that's just going to put him massively behind. Look, shoktrepet is just getting so far ahead now. And this is gone from bad to worse for a drive, man. Imagine getting to the point where you're so far ahead in the series and then finally it could potentially come down to an ace match. This is going to be brutal for your morale. He's going to need some serious willpower to come back from this. I'm not going to write him off though. He does have 4 and 1, so he still has pretty decent eco. He is, however, versus double war factory, and there's buggies on the way, and there's a load of units on the way. So, and I think that his game awareness here, drive, is good. He's making a war factory before his second refinery because he knows he's probably going to overrun. There is double war factory coming. Bike buggy. shoktrepet wants to end this. The buggies are coming in. Shard walkers, the really good option because they do have the gun damage armor that the seekers do not. Though versus a war factory, versus these seekers around the war factory, probably not going to be as bad for the seekers anyways. That's a veteran seeker. May want to pull that one back. And the shard walkers, his focus firing, if it's good, he can just aim those bikes down like one by one. Shoktrepet though, he's trying to get his expansion up. Meanwhile, Drive's just investing all of his funds into defending this. He doesn't even have a refinery queued, so he's still on 1 refinery. He's got 5 harvesters there, all queuing at it. And he's going to be mostly up against buggies now. He's not even queuing his refinery once again, so this may all be for nothing. Shoktrepet can definitely afford to lose these. Look at the Tiberium harvest on either player's field. Despite shoktrepet harvesting almost the same amount of tip, he's just waiting for it to be refined. Like they're all docking here, and that's really bad for him. He needs that second ref up like ASAP. Now he has been left some breathing room here, so he can go ahead and get that refinery up. And one thing to note also is the spike has been destroyed here, so the spike advantage has been reduced. There is bikes in the bottom, maybe looking to flank drive. Going for shard walkers, so maybe seeing that shoktrepet could transition to gun walkers. Maybe he could just take up to tier 3, go for a crane, take up to tier 3, and get avatars out on the field if he wants to play it super safe. Drive is a long way off from killing anything that's tier 3. Avatars would be a good bet. Infantry, not so much. Scorpion tanks would be a good option because he does have the laser capacitor upgrade, so that would definitely be a thing. So he's just going to encircle drive here. He doesn't want to risk it too much because I understand it is all over for him if he loses this game, and he's made a miraculous comeback here, shoktrepet, hasn't he? He's on course to win this game, and we're going to see ourselves an ace match, assuming this does go to shoktrepet. No attenuated force fields on the way. He actually does have it coming now, does he? He's trying to get that online. He's holding on, but he's up against double refinery on the expansion here. And assuming he just did the tib vibration scan, I mean, he must have known that he was so far behind after losing those 2 refineries. So it's not really a surprise to see that. However, he's just going to keep in this game. He's going to make shoktrepet a bit more fatigued, I guess, for the next game. Or maybe he's planning out his next game, because I'm not sure how he turns this one around. He isn't Traveler or Screen. He doesn't have access to the Hex Lane. Like, that's one option he'd have if he was that faction. War Factor in the front line, going for the Scorpion tanks. Does he have tier 2? Yes, he does. Going for the Dozer Blades as well. So, yeah, those Shard Walkers not going to be enjoying that at all. He's got them all split out. He's going for Mecha Peds potentially here, or maybe even Tripods. Who have to. And is this going to be a Warp Chasm? No, it's not. He's going for the upgrades. He's just got 1 War Factory Tripods. That's all he has. Probably will just get that overwhelmed. Spikes will be destroyed. So yeah, he knows. Drive knows that. Sorry, shoktrepet knows that he just needs to destroy that, and then Drive is pretty much starved in this field here. He can't really move out. And speaking of moving out, he's moved out here and he's just going to get overwhelmed. He doesn't probably have the funds to use the phase field. It just prolonged the inevitable, I feel, if he does this. Yeah, like I said, it's just, I mean, he's still got these tanks alive. With the micro shoktrepet, I don't think he's going to be losing those. Dozer Blaze does come online for shoktrepet. And these bikes are just going to find their way into this base here. Blackhand squad randomly going to destroy that Photon Cannon. And of course, these do die almost instantaneously. These growth accelerators too. They grant so much experience as well. Look at that, $1,500. There's no way that that's accurate. If you have a $900 backhand squad and you kill a growth accelerator, how does that even rank up? You need 3 times the experience of that unit. You need to kill 3 times that unit's cost to rank up. So if that costs $1,500, that growth stimulator, why on earth does it rank up units? It should not be that way. I think we should definitely change that in R15. It's a legit bug. Nice stasis shield, however. He has 3 tripods in the field. That's pretty good. But again, I just don't think he has enough firepower. He sold his MCV, I think. Yeah, he does. So he can't place down a portal and, you know, take back those husks that fall. But man, he needs to go in here and time it just right so he can crush all these Scorpion tanks. He needs to crush them all. Oh my god, wow, the crush is real. The crush is certainly real. And that's exactly what he was hoping for there. He's trying to milk these tripods the best he can. Portal comes down probably for an engineer. But yeah, he is not. He doesn't have awakened squads. He's not mocked, so he can't just imp that. But it's not going to matter. He kills all the tripods, and Drive made this a lot closer than what it needed to be for shoktrepet. Nice resistance in the end there, holding on to the last Gunwalker, to the last buzzer. And that's going to mean that we're on to the ace match. And what a series thus far, though. Shoktrepet and Drive, I have to say, they're probably of equal skill level. I haven't seen 2 players that are as evenly matched as these two, and it is showing in this series here. Both sides can take a kicking. Alright guys, we're now on to the ace match, and what could be more fitting for the final game than a map which is the last letter of the alphabet. It's going to be Z. So this is the Z here, and up in the top we can see shoktrepet playing as Reaper 17. We've seen mostly scrins from him though. We haven't seen a single GDI from either side, so random stinging out on that. And down here we can see Drive playing as Mock. So it's going to be Reaper 17 versus Mock on Tiberian Zone. And this map originally had some pretty crazy lightning. I was the one who complained though about it. I said, look Predator, you need to change this because it's lagging on my PC. Back then my PC was pretty rubbish though. Couldn't handle the effects. And he's going to go for Disintegrators early on. Interesting choice. Does he have a strategy in mind? Is there anything that these can destroy? The spike is on this side, so symmetrical. It is symmetrical, this map. Awakened Squad will engage these. These do decently versus the Awaken the Buzzers. On maps like Six City, if you don't have like 2 or 3 squads of Awaken, you're going to get your engineer killed, almost certainly taking the spike. They're not very good versus buzzers, and that's why I don't like playing Mock versus Scrin early on. Once they get into the late game, however, that turns around because you do get the Awakened, which are really good for amping stuff. Amp duration could be better. It's only 5 seconds, but yeah, I'll take it nonetheless. And they do have those particle beams as well, which are more useful versus Traveler, who have infantry that are seen in the late game, whereas Scrin don't really utilize their inf in the late game as much, unless they're using it for like defending their base in a panic situation, which is quite common. You see that often. Anyway, these buggies completely gonna shut this down unless he fails the micro. It's one thing you need to be wary of with this. If you go for buggies, is you can get you can be victim to a reverse move bug, so you need to really stay on the ball with these buggies, and he may even delay his expansion. He's good multitasking here for Drive though, because he's not. Sometimes it's easy to forget to move your MCV when you're busy microing here. And he's not even going to lose a single buggy, so what a good start to this game for Drive. He's going to get himself all those descents killed and not lose a single buggy. Both sides have one spike. There is blue fields on this map, as you can see. And I don't think Drive's ever played this before. Because he's expanding to the right. And there's a blue field there. Oh man, I think there was a green field in this map originally. He must have thought like ages ago that there was a green fields here. There was never blue here before. I swear that there wasn't. The layout has been changed. And he's going to be like, oh shit, I'm going to have to be forced to go for double war factory. That's going to be almost certainly double war factory because it's the only way you can really recover from this, you know, mistake here. He's going to move to the middle now. It'll be interesting to see if, what's his name, shoktrepet does the same mistake. No, he didn't. He went for the middle field. And oh man, is this really going to come down to him not knowing that the field was changed, location? Man, I swear, if you look at earlier revisions on this map, the green field was here. And there was like a blue field here. I swear that this blue field though wasn't there before. It is a slow growing field though. It doesn't appear full at the start. So yeah, that's unfortunate. He's going to go for an MCV sell. He feels, oh shit, I'm so far behind this game. I need to go for an MCV sell. But Drive's already got it. There is a mutant hover on this map. So you can take that, go for mutants for anti-infantry. Probably a good idea actually. Just move your MCV there. Take this hover, sell it. Get some mutants out, and then you'd have ample anti-infantry. Distance won't be a threat to you then. But yeah, gunwalkers in distance can probably hold this back. There is no flame tanks or flame tank potential. Tier 2 online. He can rebuild his MCV. Technically it isn't all in what he did here, Drive, but he can always rebuild his MCV from this war factory if he scores some nice trades. He's got those 2 buggies, remember, so he can, you know, kill those. I'm surprised he didn't already latch onto that, though, however, yet. He needs to go for more buggies, though, which will mean less Scorpion tanks. He can probably move in now, though. I feel that his window to engage is narrowly closing. It needs to happen now. He's not moving in unless he's going to flank him completely away from the base defenses, which is a really good move. The disintegrators, though, are going to be very, very hard to destroy. He's not engaging the photon cannons from the front line. As you can see, there's another one queued. 2 photon cannons, as well as this army, is going to be really hard to stop. Probably a stasis chamber on the way as well for the stasis shield. But yeah, he's going to move in here. He does have the cloaking field support power available to him, so he might just decide to save $3,000 up and use that cloak. And these gunwalkers here are going to make it hard for the Scorpion tanks to crush. And it's interesting to see Shard Walkers versus Scorpion tanks. It's not something you'd expect. He would have probably, I would have personally gone for Seekers, but I see why he did this because they do have more armor. So the descents are really going to be quite defended in the back because you can't really crush descents. They're in the midst of all the Shard Walkers. And there is tier 3 in the field here. Man, this is not looking good for Drive here. This game's rapidly gonna be over for him. He doesn't have. I mean, where's that engineer? I assume it got killed, unless he forgot about it. It's not entirely certain. I feel that this game, you could tell that he was planning to go for the eco game, but then he found out later that he had to adapt to a situation that he didn't want to find himself in. And if you are to all in like that on 2 war factories, you need to do it on 4 and 2 and not expand it with your MCV, because then otherwise the timing would be just off and your opponent who goes triple refinery could probably hold it off quite easily. And that's exactly what happened here. There's double war factory tripods on the way. He's got a storm column queued as well, and that is going to be GG, I think, for Drive. I mean, he can fight on, but it's kind of futile. Actually, no. He got his MCV out. So I'm calling this game way too early, though. Shoktrepet does have vibration scans, so I'm guessing he just revealed that intel at the moment. He's got these Scorpion tanks here, so probably not wise to engage just yet. There is, man, Drive, he is mock. So there is one thing going for him. He can get some mind-blowingly epic emps off on these tripods and somehow get himself back into this, but it's going to be a tough ask, man. He's stalling here, trying to get a refinery up. There's no storm column queued, and yeah, he's way out of position. He's gonna get a gap here. If he can cancel this tripod, then that's gonna be great, because there's only gonna be one tripod in the field. Storm columns are coming online, shields on the field here. He's gonna cancel that tripod, which is Very worthy of note. There is shield upgrades on the way. Probably going to be blue shards. You got the force fields. Sorry, that was the force fields for the gunwalkers. He's going to kill the mutant hawkers. Why the hell not, right? And that does tank a lot of damage. Freaking hell. That's like almost an MCV there that he killed. So if you find yourself in a base trade situation, just take a mutant hovel, man, because they are treated as structures. So if you lose your base, it doesn't matter. When you have a mutant hovel, that will keep you in the game. So that's something to take note of. War Factory Power down here may not even know that. There is 2 tripods in the field. Probably has a stasis shield as well. If you are to push, you'd use the stasis shield. He's going to go in for another expansion here. Shoktrepet. And man, he needs to get some imps off here on these tripods. If he can take the shields off the tripods, he can use the imp. And then that's going to be pretty sick for him. He's trying to take these out. The tripods will go down. He's not destroying it though. Oh man, those drones being cast on the front line. I am so immersed into this game at the moment, but there is reinforcing tripods, unfortunately. I think he just took such a bad trade there. I mean, it could have been worse. He did kill true tripods with just strictly tier 1 units alone. So considering the situation he found himself in, I think that Drive did a good effort at getting back into it. But I think that Shoktrepet's eco was just simply far too much for him to handle. He's getting his income completely savaged here. He has nothing, and that is going to be it. So yeah, in this best of 8, both guys do win 4 games each. And it started off, you know, somewhat meh. But then as it went on, it got progressively better. And especially that arena game, man. Coming back from that is just, I don't know even how he done it. He was Zocom as well. He didn't even have regular orcas. He had those Zorkas, and you need to micro really well with them. He could have done better with those, admittedly, and you know, killed those Devourer tanks if he had focus fire the ground, anticipated where they would go. But yeah, guys, that was an interesting series to cast. I always wanted to cast it. I was planning to do this originally with Green Zero, but he kept telling me that he was busy the week and next weekend, so I thought, well, why not just do it myself then, because I'll have content to post. And yeah, I did enjoy watching that series, and I'm grateful for these guys playing it as well. Anyways, this is going to be Master Leaf. Stay tuned, because I'm going to have some more content coming. So yeah, peace out.